from being deceived. If you try to find out what's up my sleeve, you can figure out what a bag of men. If you try, something can stop you from being deceived. Something can stop you from being deceived. Something can stop you from being deceived. Something can stop you from stop you from being deceived. Something can stop you from being deceived. Something can stop you from being deceived. Something can stop you from something can stop you from being deceived. Something can stop you from being deceived.
So Steve, what's going on with you, bro? How you living, man? How your week been, bro?
Man, week been good. Like I said, Dolphins won Sunday, so that started off Monday good. Rolling into the week with a W, but for the most part, man, I'm just, glad to be here, share this platform with you guys. I appreciate y'all having me. Something that I've never done before, get on live on the podcast, so this is new to me.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
I know I met y'all at the Broner Brothers show, and y'all definitely, I told my PR, Michelle, that I was doing this podcast with y'all. And why you ain't tell me? I was like, man, I was going to tell you later. But because things pass, PR, but I was like, man, you guys, I felt a great aura from y'all when we met, and I'm like, man, I got to do it for my guys in Chicago.
I appreciate you, man.
That's a real one, right there, bro.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes, sir.
So, man, I've been out all week, man. You got your hands in a lot, man. You do a lot for Miami, dude. You do a lot for Miami, man. How was that back to school event you just did with the high school, man?
Oh, with the West, it was good, man. Thank God I was able to, round up a couple barbers. Jose, Jose Maduro, Fat Boy, and my boy Chevy. They came out and helped me out, man, and that's something that I try to tell barbers coming up, like always try to give back to the community. Right. That's all your blessings come, especially in this game. Like, most of them kids, especially in the inner city, they don't, their parents really can't, afford to take their child to the barbershops. And especially now with the prices of these haircuts, like, it's something that I always had in my heart to do for the kids every year, especially at that school. That Miami Northwestern has done. I feel the guys that's came out of that high school, I've built great friendships with, and they've helped me to where I'm at today with the Dolphins. So it is only right to give back to them. Like, I have to do it. It's like mandatory every year.
That's what's up.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
School? Where you went to school?
I be lying. I be telling people I went to the West, but I ain't never go to the
Okay. So you stunned them.
Hey, that's up here in the city. Okay. But I went to school down south, to Palmetto High School, matter of fact, yeah.
Okay.
So hey,
okay. So let's just jump out, this being a podcast is the I Cut My Way Out podcast. Let's learn a little bit just about your journey. You know what I'm saying? Who you are, where you're from. A little bit about your background, and take us through your journey a little bit. When we were at Broner Brothers, was kind of listening, and it was interesting, and just kind of wanted to, me personally, just to know more, about a little bit about your background and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, well, I honestly, growing up, I never knew I was gonna be a barber. Like that would be my passion growing up. But it was always around me. Like my mom, she's a hairstylist, so like I said, she would always cut my hair when I was a jit, and man, she would never line me up because she ain't never know how to use clippers. She only knew how to use scissors, and the way my hair is, if I let it grow, it get like a real fro-ish, like so it's like nappy, and they used to clown me in high school. Well, at the time, elementary and middle school, not high school. Well, I was able to take myself to a barbershop then, but yeah, like it was always around, and it was to a point where I just got tired of my mom messing my head up, and I saved enough money to take myself to a barbershop, actually in Goose, that's down south, called King Cuts. And at the time, you know, I'm a kid, so haircuts for kids back then was like $8. Right. I saved enough money to, you know, take myself up there. I had to catch the Metro bus because, you know, my parents ain't have no way for me to, you know, no transportation for me. So I had to catch the you know, the everyday bus that you jump on and pay your little quarters, ride there and be sitting in the barbershop about 4 or 5 hours waiting. But that time that I was waiting, I was just observing the barbers and seeing like how they would cut, not thinking like, man, like you learning as you just sitting there. And then I would be sitting there like 4 or 5 hours, and I would always get like a skin tight fade. And literally I would do that so that the haircut would last me a month, so that I could save enough money for the next time I go in there. So as I was doing that, I'd get a skin fade and I'd just cut myself up with a regular shaving blade, razor blade. Yeah, so I could keep it up like every 3 days. Okay. And I would line myself up with it too. But boy, I used to push my tape back so far, boy. I don't even know how I still got my line right now. I still got it, but it's to this show like I was learning, but I didn't know that it would be like my career one day. And eventually, like my when was it? Coming out of high school, I used to do it for fun, like not like neighborhood friends. They'll come by the house, I'll cut their hair on toilet stools or outside on a crate. You know, the basic startup way. Right. Wherever that outlet, you're gonna plug the clipper and get it going. Right. So, yeah. I didn't know none of it. It was like I said, it was always around me. And once I feel like after high school, you know, I tell this too to a lot of kids. Like, you know, high school, that's what, like 9th, 10th grade. That's when I grew up and was able to like just focus on what I wanted to do, which was at the time I wanted to play football, and I didn't have the grades. So I had like a 1.5 at the time. So one of the coaches, they told me like, hey man, you can't play football. So I'm like, all right, well, I got to grow up then. I got to, you know, hit the books. And 10th grade year, I was able to play football, and I've always been a huge fan of UM and the Dolphins. Every week I used to rock my jerseys Friday and on Mondays if the Dolphins win on Sunday. So it was always, sports was always in my life. And out of high school, my passion wasn't even with barbering. It was in actually becoming a law enforcement officer.
Really?
So, yeah.
Really? Now, you got to make that make sense, because if y'all don't know, my man covered neck down and tattoos.
Right.
Run that back, bro.
Yeah. And mind you, I ain't have no tattoos coming in high school. I started getting tattoos when I started working as a CO. Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, for the state.
Yeah, come on, tell us some more. See,
right.
About you.
Yeah, I was out of high school. I graduated. I didn't know what direction I wanted to go in. I wanted to be a nurse. Went to college for it. You know, it just wasn't for me. I seen like my parents, they were struggling, and I had to come up, like I had to make some money. Like me going to class, studying, like I was like, yo, I gotta make bread. Right. So I met a friend of mine at the time when I was working at Brandsmart. This older lady, she put me on. She was like, Steve, why don't you apply for the state? You know, they hiring right now. I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah. So I went and applied and went through the whole process. Went to the academy, graduated. I thought I made it. Boy, I was 18, 19 years old, making about $20, $22 an hour.
That's funny.
Right. I'm I went from working at Brandsmart making what $6.50 an hour to 22.
Oh, you was
So
on
I thought
top
I
of the
was,
world.
yeah. Listen, man, listen. I got humbled though. I got humbled because, you know, everything in life happens for a reason. God, He does things for a reason, and I literally, it was like 3 days before my probation was up,
Mm-hmm.
you know, full time with no pressure, and I ended up getting laid off.
Mm.
Laid off, and I want to say that was like one of the lowest points in my life,
Mm.
and I didn't know what to do after that because I'm like, yo, I just lost, you know, this career I had and where I was at, and mind you, I take care of my parents, and they were looking at me like, man, you done lost this job. What we gonna do now, Steve? Like, that's how they me. Like, mind you, I'm young. I'm like, man, what? Like, I don't know what to do. And it just so happened where I was working, I met Javaris James. He's a former Hurricane. While he was visiting, his brother knew I was a big UM fan, and he introduced me to him, and we became really close. And it was one day, he asked me, yo, Steve, who cut your hair? And I'm like, man, I cut my own hair, not thinking nothing of it. And he said, well, you think you could line me up before we go out? And I did it for him, and he liked it. And it just became like every week thing. Built a great friendship with one another. And then he put me on to my other homeboy, Lance Leggett, who's a former receiver as well. And he started, you know, rocking with me, asking me to cut him up. And I used to do it like it was a hobby. It was for fun.
Okay.
But they saw my situation. They saw that I was struggling, and me and my folks was getting evicted from our apartment, and I had to come up with some type of hustle. And they said, Steve, they seen what I was going through, and I was like, man, why don't you just come to campus? We're gonna let everybody know you know how to cut hair. And when I say I really didn't know how to cut hair, but I was just telling people, yeah, I know how to do this, that, and the third, and they believe, and they gonna believe the players because, you know, of course they the Hurricanes, so students want to do what the players do. So, man, listen, it took off from there. I used to have the whole hall dorm in Mahoney packed back to back, people lined up trying to get from me. So that was like the beginning stages.
Now, about what year was this?
Man, boy, I think it was like 2007.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds like, isn't it always interesting how God will give you everything that you think you want, or give you everything that you think you're striving for, what you feel like is best for your life, and give you that feeling of, okay, I'm good now, I'm straight. That was that, I'm straight now. Right. And it'll take it all the way to make you uncomfortable, but it's really removing that. It's preparing you for the real blessing. And if you get to the real blessing, he got to strip you of what you think is the blessing so that you can show that you prepared for what was coming. Everything that's happening in your life, it was already prepared for you, man. He just had to be ready for it, bro.
Right. And you probably would have had you passed through the probationary phase, you probably would have settled for that career.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that's deep. And it's so perfect. The setting is so perfect because the name of the podcast is I Cut My Way Out, and we've had so many instances, and that's the epitome of the title. Like that's real. You done went from being responsible, taking care of parents, getting evicted, to trying to figure out what's next, and then God prepares you for something that you didn't even know was coming.
Man, I did not know, boy. When I tell you, like I said, it was always around my life, but I just ain't opened my eyes. Even when I was working there, I used to see the guys that was locked up serving their time. That's how they would make their money in the prison cell. Like, they'll literally get a comb and a blade with some tape, and they'll do a whole haircut like that. So I was just observing all this like the whole time, and I never knew that, you know, I'd be where I'm at today with the Dolphins.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, bro. I've been doing my research. You know what I'm saying? I got my notes.
Oh, boy.
I got a question, man. You mentioned a guy not too long ago, Manny Navarro. I hope I'm saying that right. He's a sports writer for. I'm assuming he writes for the college as well as the pro teams out in Miami, correct?
Yeah, and now he's with the Athletic, which is a major, sports column.
Bro, how was that being able to, like you said in your post, man, you used to cut out them newspaper clippings and post them joints up, and you kept seeing that name, and then you go through the path in your life, and it brings you back and bring that name, and now that name sit in your chair. You cut his hair, you can talk to him. How is, bro? That has got to be enormous, dude.
Right.
It is, and even that whole moment, I didn't know how big it was for me until my PR told me, like, yo, Steve, this is huge for you. Like, this is a big moment. And like I said, Manny Navarro, he's someone that's a legend down here. Like,
Yeah.
all the kids in high school, I know when I was in high school, I used to always pick up that newspaper just to either read his article or cut out a photo, that is attached with his article, and literally put it up on my wall. And it was back then, at the time, it was like I was cutting out Sean Taylor, Roscoe Parrish, DJ Williams, Andre Johnson, like all these big name wide receivers at UM at the time. And his name was always around, and I was just honored for him to like really take his time out to do a story on me and just to share a bit, like a more in-depth story of where I am today. So
That's huge, man. Especially considering that's somebody who the very business of what he do is being able to recognize and write down in words his perception of true talent.
Right.
To think that you wanted to play football, but you still managed to get somebody who's a observer of athletic talent to sit there and be able to observe what your talent is, that you was featured in one of them articles, dude. My hat's off. That's humongous.
And
humongous, bro.
The crazy part is so many times we don't understand. We want to be athletes, and most of us come up in neighborhoods where we aspire to be professional athletes. And the numbers, it weighs against us. You know what I'm saying? You almost have a better chance of winning the lottery than becoming a pro athlete. But they don't tell us that there are many ways to still keep yourself in the know and in the mix with the sports that you love. And so you go from wanting to be a football player from being the barber for football players. And I've never heard a story like yours. And one of the things that I can say, man, as soon as I've seen pictures, social media, but I remember at Broner Brothers walking up to Yusuf to see where the panel was going to be. And before I even got his attention, you turn around and was like, "What's up, bro?" And I'm like, damn, like, he turned around like he been knowing me forever. You know what I'm saying? And just your ability to relate to people, the approach, the humbleness, and God puts people in positions who are deserving. And bro, just your energy and just how you were able to, you know what I'm saying? You could walk around with your chest poked out and be arrogant to a degree, you know what I'm saying? But just to be humble and be accepting to others, man, that says a lot about you. And I think that has a lot to do, outside of the talent, has a lot to do with the blessings that you have been given thus far. So yeah, definitely your flowers. And it's extremely inspiring.
Yeah. Nah, and that's one thing. Like I feel like how I've been able to grow in this industry and been able, be able to cut all these guys up is just the way I carry myself, humbleness. Like, to me, even to this day, like I can't believe I cut like a majority of these guys, all these players, and it really hasn't hit me, to be honest with you. And I feel like, I don't know, bro. Like, I mean, like I said, it's an honor, bro, and I'm happy where I'm at today.
Man.
With repping both teams that I grew up loving to watch, and just being able to put on these colors and represent the Dolphins organization and the university, like it's a dream come true.
You're
Yeah.
a hurricane.
And
You're a hurricane and a dolphin.
yeah, a whole hurricane and a
Yeah.
dolphin.
You know?
And you know what? He covered in it, man.
Yeah, stay drip.
He covered in it, bro. I tell you this.
So everybody asks, man, how many outfits you got of your team? Man, you always wearing UM Dolphin gear. I said, man, I got fits for days with both these teams.
Right. Hey,
I got a whole closet dedicated to both teams.
man, let me tell a short story. Shy, me and you communicated about it. I don't think Shy knows. So after we come back from Broner Brothers, right? I'm in Champaign. So me being in Champaign, the University of Illinois, is here. And so we had a new coach come in, and his name is Chip Vaughn. And so I had already started cutting his hair because I cut some of the players on the football team. So when I got back, we had a conversation. He was like, man, how was your trip? Man, I loved it. Whoop de whoop. And so I started telling him about Steve's story. Man, I met a barber, man. He was cool as hell. He's a barber for, Miami Hurricanes and the Dolphins. And, we were just talking. He kind of put some things in my head being in a college town. He was like, man, that's my man. He was like, he used to cut my hair. He was like, when I played in NFL, when I would go train in the summers in Miami, he was like, he was my barber.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm like, get the hell out of here. He said, I swear. He was like, bro, he cool as shit. He into the old schools. So now, Steve, you done put the pressure on me. So I'm like, okay, let me get these clippers to let me get these clippers to working. But it's so crazy how big the industry is, but how small it is at the same time. I mean, it was crazy because I'm sitting there like I'm telling him something new, because we had kind of talked a little bit, because here it's so crazy. And probably with a lot of universities, they recruit all these African Americans, but they don't understand and just, players of color, period, right? And they don't know how important it is for us, for our hair culturally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I know a lot of players here, man, they have a hard time with the rigors of football and academics. They have a very hard time fitting themselves in to get a haircut. So when I first started cutting some of the players, I used to get pissed because I'm like, man, these dudes are pampered and they spoiled. But when I got to know them, I'm like, hell, they don't have time. So for them to schedule a Booksy appointment, it doesn't work like everybody else. So he and I were having kind of a conversation because he deals with the recruitment. So then when I meet you, I'm kind of telling him the story because I got an idea in my head that he's already put it's like, man, that's my man.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow.
So Chip Vaughn, man, he was one of my first one of the first NFL guys who I was able to get a chance to cut when he was training down here for the NFL draft. I'm wrong, but yeah, it's crazy. Like the people you meet, you never know down the line. Like you said, he over there in the Chi coaching.
So we're in Champaign. So we're about 132 miles south of Chicago.
Look at that.
Yep. So Lovey, we have a different coach now, but Lovey was here for about 5 or 6 years. Lovey Smith was, and so small, huh?
We miss him too.
Yeah. So small town. He was at the U of I. So Chip comes in here this year, and I'm like damn, like what a coincidence.
Ironic.
Yeah,
That's
you
crazy.
know what I'm saying?
So Ash, you brought up something, man. I wanted to ask you about, Steve. Tell me more about this 71, man, because I've been looking at 71, man. That 71 is the cleanest vert I've seen in a long time, bro.
I appreciate that's my baby, man. Goldie Hawn, that's what I call
Goldie Hawn.
Yeah. So the story with that is growing up, I went to elementary school, R. Moten, down in Perrine. That's where I pretty much grew up at, down in that area, Perrine, Cutler Bay, and around that. And yeah, I would always used to see them cars like drive by the school, and I'd just be looking. I'm like, man, boy, that's a nice car. And every time the person, whoever was driving the car, they had a pretty girl in the driver's seat. So I'm like, man, one day, boy, I'm gonna have one of them when I grow up. A whole, dunk. And I want to say I bought that car when I was like, 23 years old. I saved up enough money to actually cop it. It wasn't even the color that it is now. It was like original cream with a brown top, brown guts. And bro, when I bought that car, I felt like I made it. That was my trophy.
Now, which car are you referring to?
To the 71 Impala.
Man, I've seen that. Now, are all those cars you show yours? Because I seen you had the Monte Carlo SS too.
So yeah, funny thing, the MC, that's the project that I was working on. Cause I sold my 71 like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Like right before the pandemic. I with my boy Cortland Finnegan, and the new project I had was the MC, because I always wanted an MC2. And it was not too long ago, literally this year, I actually went to go visit him. I always go back and forth to visit him and his family. He's a dear friend of mine. And I asked him, man, I wanted to go look at the car.
Right.
Oh, yeah. He was like, man, the car in the garage, man. I was like, all right, let's go look at it. And he took me to go look at it. Man, when I sat in that car, it just, all the memories started coming back. I'm like, man, I miss this car. Not only that, it don't make it no better because, all my close homeboys, they got the same, style of car. They always posting it on their page. They always going places, and I'm over here with no car. And I'm like, yo, I told Court, he was like, I told him, I said, man, I need this car back, bro. One thing he always said, though, he was like, man, whenever you want to buy this car back from me, like, you could buy it back.
Okay,
and literally, he only drove it like about 5 times. He only put about less than 20 miles on that car.
Nobody wanted it. He wanted it because of how good you looked in it, bro. That's all that is.
Man, yo, when I say, like, people have their things that, hobbies or their way to, relieve any, stress or, that car right there is sentimental to me. And not only that, but like, it's my way to escape of, stress, mental, stuff that you got going on that you really don't share. If I jump in that car, put that top back and slide, play that music.
It's over.
Man.
Let that hit you.
It's over.
And it's the way they do. They just watch it. Nice.
Dang.
I have a question because I'm partial to the SS. I got an 86, original. I bought it with 25,000 miles. So I'm partial to the MC. What did you do with the MC? You still got it? You doing anything to it?
Nah, I sold it to Court.
Oh my God.
We did a
So
swap
you swapped it out, okay?
We did a swap out and I paid the difference, man.
Listen, boy is coming to your crib shopping, bro. He coming to shop, bro.
Everything I build, man, I want it. Come on.
I'm gonna have to shoot you a picture of my SS. That's my all-time. Yeah. Finally got my hands on one.
Yeah, one day I'll get it again, but right now I'm trying to, rekindle my relationship with I need to make up for time that we ain't been together,
Right. Right.
Look, they in the comments, they say, no, not another car. Oh, that's your people?
Yeah.
That's mama there. That's your wife, huh?
That's my sister right there.
Oh, okay. No more cows, bro.
Say another one, huh?
Just find a new outlet. No more cows, man.
You're right. I seen Jinx tell AO to hop on. Is he available?
Yeah, I just I sent the link.
Okay.
I know he said he had to drop the voice.
Okay. So
go ahead.
What about the Cadillac? I seen, man, you was posted up with some fresh cars. Where the Cadillac at?
Mind you, that's when I ain't have, Goldie back. So I had to listen, the gold, I ain't had Goldie. The MC wasn't done yet. So like I said, Juice, he's another, shout out to Juice. He's my mentor who I look up to in the barber game. He's actually the official team barber for the Miami Marlins.
Okay.
That was his car. He had the Cadillac. And he wanted me to slide to his event. I'm like, yo, I don't got no car. Like, I don't want to, and mind you, I didn't like to go to these events because it would give me that urge, man, I need a car. So I try to stay away from these events. But I did. He let me borrow his Cadillac at the time.
Ooh, that Cadillac clean.
Man.
It was clean, boy. And mine sold it the same day too.
Don't let
literally had it about 48 hours and someone at the event saw it and bought them out.
Popped it out.
So talking about you selling multiple cars to your friend Courtney. It's breaking my heart. It's hurting me real bad. Making me think about my 81 Malibu, but we ain't gonna talk about that. What talk about is I got a question along the lines of that. What do you recall as one of your biggest, be it that you are as successful as you are in the barbering industry, you have this immediate energy to disarm people, which is a gift, man. That's a gift that only a few people can get. So it makes me think a person as capable as you to be success and keep on gardening success, what do you see as one of your biggest regrets being a barber, as a barber? What was one of your experiences that was your biggest regret?
My biggest regret, it was actually one moment that I had that actually, made me realize that I can't do something like this moving forward. This was when I wasn't really cutting NFL players, but I was just starting to be introduced to it. I was actually hanging out with two of my boys who played at UM at the time. Mind you, a linebacker, Tyrone, at the time, and a 6'8" left tackle. His name was Chantrell. So I was hanging out with them, and I got a call saying, Steve, Antonio Brown, he needs you. He want a haircut. Can you pull up to the hotel? And boy, I dropped my things. I'm like, hey, we got to go. Like, this AB.
Right.
Mind you, I'm young. I'm just, really starting to get around these, big name players. So me not thinking, I brought both my boys with me. When I pulled up to what was it? I think it was the W Hotel. Mind you, I'm every bit of 5'11", and I got a 6'7" left with with the linebacker. Boy, it look like we up to no good. You in Miami?
Right.
Come on, man. I walk into the hotel in the lobby with both of them. We there waiting. AB walk in. He looked, and he was like, "Oh, you Steve?" I was like, "Yeah." And mind you, I got all these tattoos too. And he was like, "All right, I'll be right back."
Oh man, yeah.
There's. He shot me a text. He was like, "Hey, I'm good. I don't need no haircut."
Oh man.
It hurt me because I'm like, yo, I just literally dropped everything I was doing, shot straight over here, thinking I was gonna be cutting, and I took it as a lesson learned and something that I have never done ever again. Bring someone to someone else's, either hotel or home, because that's their privacy, that's their space. They could have kids, their wife, stuff that they don't want other people around. And I understood, like, yo, Steve, you can't do that.
Right.
A moment that I regret, but eventually I ended up cutting him later on in life.
Okay.
And we laugh about it today.
Okay,
so.
I was going to say, did y'all have that conversation?
Gotta have.
Yeah.
Now, on the opposite end of that question, what has been your greatest accomplishment as a barber?
Ooh, my greatest accomplishment, honestly, is having one of the first barbershops inside an NFL facility.
That's big.
That's big, bro.
That's big.
Like,
that's huge.
Yeah, and mind you, this is something that I've been pushing for with our college at UM, being that UM, bro, you gotta admit, like, we invented swagger.
No doubt.
So,
no doubt. It was just an interview where Jalen was talking, and they asked what team would they compare to Fab Five, and he talked about it being, Miami.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind you, stuff like we're trendsetters, so I could have been done something like this before the Alabamas, the Clemsons, the Ole Misses, of the world.
Mm-hmm.
These places, they got barbershops inside their facility, because it's like you touched on it before, like some of these players, coaches, by the time they get done doing what they're doing, whether it's practice, whether it's hall, going to class, a lot of these barbershops are pretty much closed.
Right.
And one thing that I feel like this is why I'm where I'm at and able to open doors for the younger generation of barbers is having, like, not only a barbershop with the Dolphins, but in the other NFL, teams throughout, the states, like where this, that's where we're headed. Like, it's going to be like mandatory. Every team need to have a barbershop.
Man, for real. For real.
Yeah.
And in a real way, you opening the door for that to even exist, man, because it takes for somebody to step through that door and show that it's not a regrettable decision before they'll even move like that. So, in all honesty, you representation of the whole industry, my guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like you representation of the whole industry, bro. And I could not be more confident in anybody after I met you, bro. Because, like I said, you have an immediate energy to be able to disarm people and pull your guards down and be like, you know what? I'm tripping. This a solid dude. I can have my guard up, bro. So,
Fella, what up?
Hey, yo,
what's good? Man, what's good, man?
Ace of Face, big dog himself, 6 energy from him.
Man, here you go, man. What's good with y'all guys, man? I've been listening, man. I've been getting situated, man.
Yeah, we've been chopping it up in here.
I've been listening. I've been walking around with my headphones and I can hear the conversation. So I got myself, man. I've been ripping and running, man. Yes, sir. So Steve, this is the member. It's a total of 4 of us. So of course he's a barber as well, and then we got Kenneth Jenks, who he's not a barber. So we got 3 of the 4. So we rocking. Again, it's a blessing to have you on as well.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Steve, I wanted to ask you, bro. Well, I didn't want to ask you. One of the comments here, if I could find it, they was asking, "Is this the barber with the Sprinter van?" Can you tell us more about how you came about doing the mobile, and you have a shop at NFL. You also have another shop inside of
the UM campus,
right.
Yeah.
And you have a mobile.
Right.
Bro, you only got 2 hands and 2 legs.
Man, he ain't playing. He ain't playing.
Listen, man, I make it work though.
Right.
I know with the Dolphins, I have my partner, Jose. He helps me out big time with all the guys there. But at UM, I don't got no help. It's just me and my hands.
No doubt.
Or like with my mobile barbershop, that was an idea that I came up with during the pandemic. I feel like that was like one of, a struggle for all barbers where barbershops got closed down or, we couldn't be in contact with our clients because, COVID was going around. But it was. I feel like that whole moment either made you or broke you.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
It brought the hustle out of me even more, and it was an idea that I always had, but I just never could really. Because mine, I said, I take care of my parents, so taking care of them was a load on me all as it is. So I really couldn't do nothing. But by the grace of God, and I'm thankful. Like I said, you know, everything in life happens for a reason. Teddy Bridgewater, good friend of mine, I love him to death. I met him when he was at the West. And remember how I told you always give back, you know, try to somewhat do something for the community. He remembered what I would, you know, do for his team back then when he was at the West. And it just so happened I was cutting him when he got to the league. And literally during the pandemic, one day he asked me, out the blue, text me early in the morning, like, yo, Steve, what will take you to the next level? Like, what will take Kane's Barber to the next level? Sat there and I thought about it, and I pitched him 2 ideas, and the mobile barbershop, that was actually one of the ideas, and he told me to look into it. I looked into it, and I found one on OfferUp, a beat up one on OfferUp. Hey, man, I think I found something. Not thinking nothing of it, and literally the next day we went to go look at it. He had in it. He said, man, if you like it, I love it. Pulled his check out, signed, handed me the keys, and was like, man, Steve, I just want you to keep going, keep, you know.
Bro, that's a dope story, bro.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Bro.
Wow.
Now, don't go sell it, bro. Now don't
Right.
sell
Right.
it.
You got right. He got to ride that one till the wheels fall off.
Yeah,
Man.
ride that forever, man.
Man.
Mind you, Teddy, you haircuts for life after that one.
For real. For real.
Till
So
That's historic, bro. Like that's major, right? Like
Right.
man.
right. So I have a question. Like Shaq said, man, you only got 2 hands. I've been since we talked and you were on the panel in Miami. It runs through my head all the time. Like, bro, what does a normal day look like for you? Like, how do you know what I'm saying? Because you even talked about you still doing the 9 to 5 thing.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's something that a lot of people don't know. I have occupation outside of barbering, where it's literally Monday through Friday, 7.
I couldn't wrap my head around that, bro. When you told us that, I literally walked away from that conversation and was talking to my wife like, is there something wrong with me? Am I doing something wrong?
He doing 2 days, ain't it?
Right.
But you know,
He ain't playing.
that's something we talked about, and especially in what we do when it comes to health insurance, having a retirement plan, a 401k. It's something that's not really discussed in our field of barbering. And to be honest with you, that's why, you know, I still have that job. I love the people there. They work with me. They're able to, you know, like it's convenient with the time that I work there and the time that, you know, the players and coaches get done. It like balances out for me.
Okay.
Morning, they practicing, they in class.
True.
So by the time I get off, that's when I'm able to, you know, work with the players and get what I got to do done. And like I said, like, I mean, my whole reason why I'm there, even I still, my butt Juice, he clowns me all the time. Man, you need to quit that job. I am. I ain't gonna lie. I'm eventually, I mean, I got enough years under my belt to retire.
Okay.
So eventually I'm going to retire and focus on this full time because this is where my passion heart is.
Right.
Man, I was looking to send you an information of a guy to talk to, man, who will really, he can be influential in that decision, man. It's a guy by the name of Dante Financial. And his whole is to help barbers with understanding that you don't have to take those old traditional routes on keeping insurance, understanding how to know what a write-off is in this industry, right? And how to get insurance that pays for itself. But he can explain it way better than I can. I've read a couple of his books, man, but once we get done here, I'm going to send you his Instagram information. The brother got a lot of information, and he's just like yourself, that immediate ability to disarm you and just have a general conversation with you, man.
Mm-hmm. No, that's definitely something that I've been struggling with, or just battling, just trying to really like completely let that go and focus on this, because like this is my baby right here. This is what I eat, sleep, and breathe. Like this is what makes me happy.
But isn't it crazy how no matter how much success we're able to capture and hold on to, there's still that human factor, and still that factor of it don't matter how great things are on this side, I don't want to let go of this over here, because you know it's my own perception of what I need to maintain this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't necessarily look at it as well, I guess it is the perception, right? But I think when we go back and you talk about, you know, being evicted and having to take care of your parents, the same thing happened to me for so many years. My wife was like, jump, you know, God got you. Like, I need this insurance. And today, one of my biggest fears, and I grind so hard, and we have, you know, talks and we're empty nested and all that. But I remember vividly what it feels like to be broke and have nothing. And then I think also, even though I'm confident at this point and I jumped, but then when that pandemic hit, reality set again. Like nothing's promised, nothing is for sure. You know what I'm saying? And so then you're looking at it, it's like, man, I don't want to go back down that road. So it's almost like that assurance. You know what I mean? Not just insurance, but assurance. You know what I mean?
And that's like you said during the pandemic, man. If it weren't for still having that job, bro, I don't know. Like, listen, it would have been bad for me. But you know, everything happens for a reason. So
that pandemic made you get out and get it, man.
Yeah. Like I said, that whole when that happened made me really. It lit a fire under me. It made me brand myself out. It made me, you know, put my money into that Sprinter van. So it like really, it helped me out. Like I said, like it either broke you or made you, and it definitely made me. And I'm thankful it happened. I'm not thankful that, you know, all the what happened with people passing away and stuff. Like I don't wish that on nobody. And I was able to, you know, we still here. Survive moment.
No doubt.
It definitely was a game changer, man.
Man, what?
What was you finna say, Ash?
No, so how did so the whole I understand, you know, you ended up getting close and some of your homeboys, and that's how it came into the fold. But, you know, without going into too much detail, like what did that look like? Did they just vouch for you, or did you have a proposal and you sat down with some of the higher ups? Like, how did it become official that you were the team barber for both the Miami Dolphins and the Miami Hurricanes?
Good question.
I mean, with UM, it was just being around the players, being around the top dogs on the team, you know, the years that I was there, and them bringing me around, and coaches and, you know, staff, just seeing how it was more than just being their barber. It was like, I'm older brother.
Okay.
It's a brotherhood. So they saw how players would gravitate to me. And of course, like, my aura speaks for itself. Yo, like, don't let the tattoos fool you. Like, you can come talk to me. I ain't, you know, I'm human just like you.
Right.
And, you know, we live in a world where, you know, people get judged.
Absolutely.
By
They do.
Yeah,
But
quick too.
And I love what we do, because we can be like, we can have tattoos, so, and not be judged. Like, and not only that, it's a great opportunity for, you know, guys that, you know, been locked up, don't have a second chance. This is a great field for them to, you know, follow in and not be judged. Oh, compared to, you know, 9 to 5 jobs where they judge, oh, you was locked up. Oh, no, we don't want.
Right.
This that we're in is open, like,
Right.
and I love it.
Right. So just piggybacking off of that, and y'all jump in whenever. But I'm just curious because I got some things rolling around in my head and some things kind of on the plate. So how was it that? Because I think to some point, like that would be overwhelming, like almost starstruck, right? It's like, damn, I'm the team barber. So how did you get it to a point in terms of business wise where you were able to, pinch yourself, realize that it was real, even though it's a surreal moment, and say, hey, this is business. I can't short myself. I can't take less than because I could be in a barbershop making money. So I have to make sure that I have my parents to take care of, whatever obligation. This is business. What was your mindset in terms of that negotiation from a business standpoint?
I mean, mind you, even like going from and to the Dolphins, like it was out of me and like 6 other barbers, I think, that got interviewed.
Okay.
And they said like players were the ones who vouched, like, nah, we need Steve and we need Jose here. Because we were the guys that a lot of the players that trusted us come into their household or to the facility to them. And once, once I got interviewed and, I sat down with, at the time, the player operations, that's when you work out all the numbers with them. And listen, just like they got a family to feed, I got a family to feed too. So you just put everything out on the table.
Okay.
Don't hesitate. Like speak what you need to say to them. And I mean, they respect the grind.
Right.
To this day, I'm coming in at 5 a.m.
Right.
Getting the boys and the staff, the coaching staff right. And be right to like, hey, we got to make sure we take care of these ballers.
Right.
So, but that whole working from college, and like I said, like all the collegiate athletes go to not all, but some do make it to the pros. Right. Got to the Dolphins was through, at the time, Mike Pouncey, Lamar Miller, and it was I forgot who. Let's just put Mike Pouncey and Lamar Miller. They got drafted by the Dolphins. Okay. Mike Pouncey told I was cutting him when he was at Florida. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so once he got to the Dolphins, got drafted first round, he told me, he's like, Steve, I'm gonna make sure I get you in this building. We're gonna make it happen one way or another. But that's just to show, like, building these friendships, they go a long way. And the way you treat others, like, that's a representation of you and how far you're going to make it in this field. Because with you, like, I feel that's how I've made it so far now with both teams. Is just the way I carry myself, the way I treat others. I just, like, we a big deal. All barbers.
No doubt.
Barbers are essential, bro.
Man.
Barbers are essential. That's something down here in Tennessee. I don't know if y'all experienced that where y'all was at, but the mayor here, Bill Lee, the governor here, Bill Lee, gave a public statement on the news during the pandemic that barbers and stylists were not essential.
Yeah.
He was wrong. Every week he had a fresh cut.
Right. Right.
Right.
Somebody was cutting him up.
Some boy. Barbering is one of them industries, man, where when you need it, but when they don't need you, they'll forget about you if you let them.
Mm-hmm.
Let them. But we had somebody ask a question. Pat57 asked, what would you give some advice to someone that's still in barber school?
Honestly, the advice I would give is don't be in it for the money. Like, really have a passion for it. And when because, now in our era, this generation, it's all about social media. Don't get discouraged because you see the next barber you know, doing his thing, and you feel like, you know, you falling behind. Like race your own race. Don't try to compare yourself to other barbers. Like that's another thing with me. I know I'm in my own lane. I don't worry about this guy over here, that guy over there in the third. My whole thing with me is just being an inspiration to the younger generation of guys. Cause how I just like how I am where I'm at now, it took Juice, which is my mentor, for me to see his article in the Miami New Times, which is a big magazine down here. It took for me to see that on the front page cover to be like, man, one day I'm gonna be just like him.
Bro.
And one day I'm gonna love to work, you know, next to him to learn from him. And I feel like that's something like even now with barbers, like they just try to outdo the next guy when it ain't about that.
It's a brotherhood.
Always,
Right.
yeah, it's a brotherhood. And like I talked about it with you guys at the show, like it's some things that don't get us, but that do need to be shed light on because it's a lot of snakes out there.
Oh yeah. It's everywhere.
They hungry to fight, boy.
Yeah.
For real,
Yeah.
want to be where you want, and it's sad because we all have our own lane. We all it's enough guys out here to cut. Mind you, I can't cut everybody on the Dolphins.
I don't know, bro. You work 6 jobs, got 4.
Man, that's why I said I think you can, man. At this
If
point.
anybody can do it, Steve can do it.
Look, I thought you did until you said that.
Right.
No, but I can't cut everybody now. But you know, I can't get mad that this other guy cutting one of the like players. Nah, bro. Everybody eats. You know.
Absolutely. And it's enough room for everybody to eat.
Man, more than enough room for everybody.
Speaking of that, do you think that part of that whole mindset of the snake mentality comes from everybody expecting microwave success in the industry nowadays?
Well, that's exactly what it
They
is.
think just gonna be handed to them. They think things happen overnight. Like, nah, bro. Yo, I bust my behind to get where I'm at.
But you know, ultimately, what led to that or leads to that is because social media. Most people see the finished product.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We bring you on here. They don't know that Steve is responsible for taking care of his parents and that you've been evicted. They just see, man, he posing, he dripped out in the hurricane gear, and he the barber of Miami Hurricanes, and they see the finished product. So everybody is chasing what's on social media. You know what I'm saying? That's the race.
They ain't chasing the process. They want to chase the final product. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's why I feel it's such an importance for guys like yourself to come on, be it with this podcast or any other podcast or anywhere that the message of your story can be heard, so that people.
We're gonna say this podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna say this podcast, right? That's why it's important for people like yourself to come on to give your story out. It's one thing for somebody to you, yeah, he got this, he got that, but he also did this, and this. It's something different here for you to give us the real from your mouth. My experience was this, and this. And people like I said, when you told me the stuff that you do now and the things that you were doing, the fact that you sold both of them cars, I'm still digesting all that. Like, man, this dude done had a whole life, bro. He got a whole lot of stuff that downs, left, right. He's just like everybody else, bro.
Yeah, right.
We all, I mean, and I'm thankful to, you know, the way I grew up, not having, you know, a lot and struggling. Like that made me who I am today, and that's why I'm so humble. And bro, listen, I used to pull up over there. They're probably watching, but my boys on 95th. Literally, I had a Mazda Protege. I don't know how I fit a barber chair in the back seat, but I would literally drive away from down south all the way up to the city to cut a group of guys for like $20 each. And that's when I was just starting. I wasn't even cutting NFL guys. That's just me trying to, you know, build a name and
Get your hustle on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Like we all
right.
started from, but it's a process, man,
Right.
and you gotta embrace it and strive for greatness.
And love it. You know what I mean? Because
Man.
ultimately, whatever you're doing that you're passionate about, it'll lead to the financial aspect. And as I've continued to grow, man, it's a million ways to make money. The key is, can you save it and keep it? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Even in the hood, people, poverty runs rampant, but it ain't because money don't flow through the hood.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Come through that
So
thing.
yeah,
Come
for
through.
real.
But look,
You
Steve,
know?
had you on for a full hour, bro, interrogating you and judging you.
Whole hour. I literally went and got food. It's still down there. I ain't even eating.
Man,
we apologize.
Get to the crib.
What you?
Okay.
So we want to ask you, man, before you go. One thing I wanted to ask you was, did you have any questions that maybe you wanted to ask, or any message, any organizations you're dealing with, anything that you feel you need to get out there, man?
Ooh, that's a good question. But honestly, bro, I mean, right now I can't really think of anything to ask because I'm just overwhelmed with what we had a great conversation and shared story, and like I said, I'm thankful to share this platform with you guys to just open eyes to the younger generation of barbers. But y'all doing a great job.
Appreciate it,
Keep
man.
it up. I'm a fan. You got my do.
Man,
Say that one more time.
But as far as question, I don't got no questions out there. I just I could do it. Like this world, all it takes is
man,
for
your
you to
phone
pull up.
all the way up
It's
You hear me?
skipping pretty bad.
real bad.
Yeah.
Got
Yeah, we didn't. He got a joke. He said your phone sounded like my phone. We didn't
You,
hear you.
you hear me?
Huh?
we get now.
I said, you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You hear me better now?
Oh yeah.
Man, somebody called me, man. I don't know why they calling me right now. I'm on live.
Yeah.
No, but what I was saying is, yeah, if I could do it, you guys could do it. Like, you know how many colleges out here that all it takes is for you to pull up, set up shop, and eventually it's gonna get to the right people if you cut hair good.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
On top of those other
guys,
aspects, the personality, you know what I'm saying, the professionalism, all the
yeah.
things that you show that you bring to the table. Like I said, man, you've with your platform, what you do, you've been one of the most approachable. Like I said, you made me feel like I was a star. I'm like, damn, dude, do you know me?
We are.
I'm appreciative, and I
Ever.
also want to say, lastly, man, don't get it twisted. Not only are you doing something for the younger generation, but I wouldn't be surprised if I'm older than that. I know I'm older than my podcast partner, but at my age, man, y'all are inspiration to me as well. You know what I'm saying? Being able to just put the 9 to 5 behind me and go full throttle, man, and being, I'm getting ready to turn, if God will, 46 next week, next Thursday, and I'm entrenched in it. I'm loving it. This is the most joy that I've had in my professional life, and y'all are inspiration and motivation to me. So I appreciate everything, what I'm saying, that y'all doing. So it ain't just the younger generation; it's everybody in the game, because it's
all
it's
across
a brotherhood,
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, man, we're gonna let that food, man. Hey,
Yeah. Eat my
$1,000
food.
Yes, sir.
an hour.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm
So-
surprised you ain't got no meal cooking
I
on.
was just about to say, I'm
Thanks,
surprised I ain't eating no something.
Hey,
Look, my wife was like, look, man, you can't, y'all interviewing somebody, you can't be eating on live this week, so I'm gonna get you right before you go on there.
Fella,
So
don't try to
she
not
took
spoil
care of me.
on camera. We already know the spoil going on over there.
So she took care of me. But again, this is the I Cut My Way Out podcast. We had Kane's Barber, Steve Riviera, right? That's how you pronounce it. Man, it's been an honor, pleasure, man. Give you your flowers, man. And we appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing your story, man. We greatly appreciate it.
Oh, yeah.
That's love.
Much love, man. And I'm the type, man, I'll pick your brain from time to time. I'll tag you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just the type, man, I love people, man. So, and what we do, man, I just, you know, I'm always reaching out and picking brains and just trying to stay connected, man.
Oh, and that street runs both ways, bro. If you ever need anything, if you ever, whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can vouch for everybody on this podcast. Bro. You
Say less.
Absolutely.
coming right back.
Absolutely.
Man, I hate I missed most of it, man. I gotta go. I'm gonna have to go back and watch it.
You're right.
Hey.
Go ahead and save.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate it. Hey, I'm gonna send you a picture of that MC too.
All right.
All right, buddy.
All right, y'all take it easy, fellas.
You
All right.
do,
All right,
man.
man.
Have
Y'all
a
be
good one.
smooth.